Hi there, and welcome back to the garden. I'm Eleanor. Before we begin, I want you to picture your front yard in the very dead of winter, a gray, cold morning in January, and tell me honestly down in the comments, is it still green and alive and welcoming? Or is it bare, brown, empty, and just a little bit sad? Be truthful now. Drop it below, because today we are going to make absolutely sure that your yard looks beautiful and cared for, even in the coldest, bleakest, grayest months of the year. Here's the thing that so many of us miss, and I include my younger self in that. We plant for spring and summer, all those glorious flowers, all that color, and then for nearly half the year when the leaves have dropped and the perennials have died back to the ground, the yard looks empty, flat, and forgotten. It's the great secret weakness of so many gardens. And the cure for it, the secret to a home that looks loved and intentional all year round, is one simple word: structure. Evergreen shrubs, the plants that hold their leaves, their color, and their shape through every single season, including the dead of winter. These are the bones of your garden. They're the steady, dependable, year-round backbone that keeps everything looking deliberate and cared for 12 months a year. And here's a lovely bonus. They give all of your flowers and perennials a beautiful, calm, green backdrop to shine against when they do bloom. A flower border looks twice as good in front of a handsome evergreen. So today I'm sharing 10 evergreen shrubs that look great all year long, even in winter. Tough, handsome, dependable plants that never leave your yard bare and empty. I'll walk you through what each one looks like, where to use it, and exactly how to keep it happy. Plant a few of these for structure, and your home will look just as polished and welcoming in January as it does in June. So pour yourself a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and if you love an easy, beautiful yard, tap that subscribe button. It truly helps this little channel grow. All right, let's give your yard some gorgeous year-round backbone. Let's start with the timeless, undisputed king of evergreen structure, the boxwood. There's a very good reason you see boxwoods planted in front of nearly every elegant, expensive-looking home. They give you that crisp, tailored, year-round green that makes a house look polished, orderly, and intentional. And because they are evergreen, they hold that rich, deep green color straight through the winter, standing there looking sharp and dignified while everything around them has gone bare and brown. Boxwood is, quite simply, the very definition of good bones. Clean, calm structure that frames your home and anchors your beds in every single season of the year. And boxwood is wonderfully versatile, which is part of why designers love it so. You can keep it clipped as a low, neat, formal hedge edging a walkway. You can shape it into tidy little mounds, globes, or cones. You can flank your front door with a matching pair for that classic, symmetrical, welcoming look. Or you can simply let it grow into a soft green backdrop for your flowers. That sense of structure and order is exactly what our eyes read as designed and expensive. It's slow-growing and genuinely low maintenance, too. Give it well-drained soil and a spot with a few hours of sun, and just one light trim in late spring keeps it crisp and sharp. Because it grows slowly, it stays put and rarely outgrows its space, so you're never fighting it back. My tip, and there are two parts to it. First, don't plant boxwood too deep. Keep the top of the root ball right at the soil line and give it good airflow, which keeps it healthy and helps prevent disease. And second, here's a little pruning secret the pros use. When you trim it, shape it just slightly wider at the bottom than at the top. That way, sunlight can reach the lower leaves, and your boxwood stays lush and full all the way down to the ground, instead of going thin and bare at the base. Timeless, tidy, dignified, and evergreen. Boxwood is where year-round structure begins. Now let's add some glossy leaves and bright winter berries with number 2. Number 2 gives you handsome evergreen leaves, and just when you need it most, cheerful, glowing color in the very dead of winter, holly. Holly is the absolute picture of winter beauty. Those glossy, deep green leaves look polished and rich all year round, and then exactly when the garden has gone quiet and gray, many hollies light up with clusters of bright red berries that positively glow against the green foliage and the white snow. It's no wonder at all that holly has become the classic symbol of the winter holidays, because nothing says alive and beautiful in winter quite like it. It brings structure, gloss, and that precious pop of festive color at the exact moment when everything else has given up. And there's far, far more variety than just the spiny classic that might come to mind. There are soft-leaved hollies with no prickles at all, gentle to the touch. There are compact, rounded types perfect for small spaces and foundation plantings. There are tall, narrow ones ideal for screening and privacy. And there are golden, variegated kinds that bring year-round brightness to a dull corner. As a wonderful bonus, those berries feed the birds right through the lean winter months, bringing life and movement to your yard when you need it most. Holly is tough and adaptable. Most kinds like full sun to part shade and well-drained soil, and once established, they're low maintenance and very long-lived, often outlasting the gardener who planted them. Now here's one genuinely helpful thing to know, because it trips people up. For most hollies to actually produce those gorgeous berries, you need both a male and a female plant growing somewhere nearby. The female plant is the one that makes the berries, but she needs a male partner in the neighborhood to pollinate her. So plant a pair, or simply check that there's a compatible male type somewhere in the area, and you'll be rewarded with berries. My tip: plant your holly where you'll really enjoy those winter berries, near a window where you'll see them from indoors by the front door, or against the house where they show beautifully against the wall and snow. Prune lightly in winter if you wish. And here's a lovely thought. You can bring those trimmings indoors for your holiday decorating, free greenery and berries straight from your own yard. Glossy, berried, and gorgeous in winter, holly is a true year-round treasure. Now let's add some height and screening with number 3. Number 3 is the go-to evergreen whenever you need height, vertical structure, and dependable year-round privacy, the Arborvitae. If you want a tall, narrow, reliable evergreen to screen an unwanted view, to frame a corner of the house, or simply to add some graceful, vertical structure to your beds, Arborvitae is very hard to beat. It forms dense, soft, feathery columns of rich green that stay full and handsome all year long, including right through the depths of winter. The hugely popular emerald green type makes a beautiful, narrow, upright pillar that's perfect for tight spaces, for flanking an entrance in a stately pair, or for lining up in a row to create a living wall of privacy. That tall, evergreen vertical form adds elegant structure and keeps your yard looking lush and furnished even under a blanket of snow. And here's a real advantage. Arborvitae is fast-growing for an evergreen, so you get that established screening look relatively quickly rather than waiting a decade. It's also low maintenance and wonderfully adaptable, happy in full sun to part shade and tolerant of most soils. Many types naturally grow into a neat, tidy shape and need little or no pruning at all to look their best. Use a single one as a vertical accent or exclamation point, a matching pair to frame a doorway or the end of a path, or a whole row to create privacy and block out an unwanted view, all while staying beautifully green and full through the coldest months of the year. My tip, and it's an honest, practical one. In areas with heavy snowfall, the snow can sometimes splay open the more open types. So, in snow country, you can tie them loosely together with a soft cord for support through the worst of the winter. And do be aware that deer absolutely love to munch on Arborvitae. So if you have deer visiting your yard, either protect them or choose a more deer-resistant evergreen like holly or spruce instead. And as always, give them enough room to reach their full mature width without crowding. Tall, green, fast, and dependable all year, Arborvitae is your evergreen workhorse. Now let's add some tough, textured, ground-hugging green with number 4. Number 4 is one of the toughest, most versatile, most adaptable evergreens there is, and it comes in every shape imaginable, from flat carpets to tall columns, the juniper. Juniper comes in such an enormous range of forms and colors that it's endlessly useful in the garden. There are low, spreading, creeping types that make a tough, weed-smothering evergreen ground cover, carpeting a slope or spilling gracefully over the top of a wall, and they come in green, gold, and the most beautiful, steely, silvery blue. There are medium, mounding types, and there are tall, narrow, upright columns. That blue-green and gold foliage holds its color faithfully all year and adds wonderful texture and a cool, modern, sophisticated feel to the yard even in the deepest winter. And juniper is famously, almost stubbornly tough. It positively thrives in hot, dry, poor, sandy soil and blazing full sun. It is genuinely one of the very best evergreens you can choose for a difficult, exposed, hot, or low-water spot. It's drought-tolerant, it's tolerant of salt, it's low maintenance, and the deer largely leave it alone. So for a hot, dry bank or slope where nothing else seems willing to grow, a flowing carpet of spreading juniper is a brilliant, evergreen, no-fuss solution that holds the soil and looks wonderful doing it. For your design, use the low, creeping types as ground cover on slopes and in hot, dry beds. Use the gorgeous blue ones for a cool pop of color among greens, and use the tall, upright ones as vertical accents and exclamation points. Full sun and well-drained soil, it truly doesn't ask for anything more than that. My tip: give juniper good air circulation and plenty of full sun to keep it healthy and dense, and be sure to choose the right form for the job at hand. Because there's a juniper for almost every spot, do check the mature size and shape on the plant tag so you get exactly the right one. Once it's planted in a sunny, well-drained spot, it's about as carefree and self-sufficient as a plant can possibly be. Tough, textured, versatile, and evergreen, juniper handles the hard spots with ease. Now let's add some soft, elegant, refined, deep green beauty with number 5. Number 5 is a refined, deep green classic that has been gracing the most elegant gardens for many hundreds of years, the yew. Yew has a quiet, timeless, aristocratic elegance about it. Its soft, flat needles are a rich, deep, dark green that provides the most beautiful backdrop all year round. And that handsome dark green makes the flowers and lighter foliage planted in front of it really sing and pop. It holds its color and its form perfectly through the winter, and many types develop pretty little red berries as well. There's a real reason yews have framed the finest homes, gardens, and grand estates for generations. They look refined, substantial, and deeply settled in every single season. One of the yew's very greatest gifts, and the thing that makes it so valuable, is its tolerance for shade. It is one of the few truly handsome evergreens that genuinely thrives in part to full shade, where so many other evergreens sulk, thin out, and struggle. So, for that shady side of the house where boxwood won't quite do, yew is your elegant answer. It also takes pruning absolutely beautifully. It's a favorite for clipping into hedges, topiary, and formal shapes. So you can keep it as a neat hedge, a tidy foundation shrub, or a clipped form, or simply let it grow into a softer, more natural shape. It's slow and steady, remarkably long-lived and low maintenance. Use it as a rich, dark green foundation planting, a refined and formal hedge, a shade-tolerant evergreen backbone, or a deep, handsome backdrop for your colorful plants. It likes well-drained soil, and the single thing you will not tolerate is soggy, waterlogged ground. So good drainage is essential, and it's perfectly happy in sun or shade. My tip: remember that yew is one of your very best bets for a handsome evergreen in a shady, difficult spot where other shrubs would fail. Just make absolutely sure it has good drainage, and it will serve you, refined and green and dignified, for many decades. One important safety note, though: Foliage and berries are toxic if eaten, so to keep that in mind, and cite it thoughtfully if you have young children or pets who might be tempted to nibble. Refined, dark green, shade-friendly, and timeless, Yew is a classic for the ages. Now let's add a splash of fiery seasonal color with number 6. Number 6 is an evergreen that actually changes color with the seasons and blazes a brilliant red in winter, which is a rather magical thing for an evergreen to do. Nandina, also known as heavenly bamboo. Now, despite that charming nickname, Nandina isn't a bamboo at all. But it does have that light, airy, graceful look with delicate, lacy leaves held on slender, upright stems, which is where the name comes from. And what makes Nandina so genuinely special is its color, because it doesn't just sit there being plain green like most evergreens. The foliage often emerges in spring with lovely reddish or bronze tints, settles into a calm green through the summer, and then, here's the real magic, turns the most brilliant, fiery shades of red, crimson, scarlet, and burgundy in the fall and winter. So at the very moment when most evergreens are simply holding their plain green, Nandina sets your whole yard aglow with warm, fiery color. And many types also produce big, cheerful clusters of bright red berries that hang on right through the winter, adding even more warmth and cheer. That combination, evergreen, plus fiery winter color, plus those bright berries, makes Nandina a wonderfully lively, warming backbone plant for the cold months. It's tough, adaptable, and low maintenance, perfectly happy in sun or part shade, tolerant of most soils, and drought-tolerant once it's established. The compact, modern varieties, like the popular Firepower, stay low, rounded, and tidy, and they turn the most spectacular fire engine red in winter. For your design, use the Dwarf types as a low, colorful evergreen edging, or massed in a group for a glowing drift of winter red, and use the taller types as an airy, graceful screen or a vertical accent, sun to part shade and well-drained soil, and it's wonderfully easygoing. My tip, for the most brilliant, intense winter color, give Nandina a spot with plenty of sun. The more sun it gets, the redder and more fiery it turns. And do choose one of the well-behaved, compact, modern varieties for your front yard. One quick note for the conscientious gardener. In some warm regions, the old berrying types can self-sow a little freely, so the modern, compact, low-berry varieties are a tidy, responsible, and beautiful choice. Evergreen, fiery, berried, and colorful in the depths of winter, Nandina brings real warmth to the cold months. Now let's add some delicate, spring-flowering elegance with number 7. Number 7 is a refined, sophisticated evergreen that surprises you just when you need it most, with beautiful cascades of delicate flowers in late winter and early spring. Pieris, also called Japanese Andromeda. Pieris really does give you the best of several worlds, all in one handsome plant. To begin with, it's a lovely, glossy, evergreen shrub with elegant, layered foliage that looks polished all year round. Then, the fresh new growth in spring often emerges in beautiful, glowing shades of bronze, coppery red, or pink, almost like a second flowering of color. And then, the real showstopper, in late winter and early spring, exactly when you are longing for the garden to wake up, it drips with long, cascading clusters of dainty, bell-shaped flowers, usually in white or soft pink, that look for all the world like delicate strings of tiny lily-of-the-valley. So while the rest of the garden is still half asleep, Pieris is putting on a graceful, charming, delicate show, all while staying evergreen and structured the rest of the year. It brings a refined, slightly woodland elegance to a front yard, and it's a wonderful companion plant for azaleas, camellias, and rhododendrons, because it enjoys exactly the same conditions they do: part shade and rich, acidic, well-drained soil with a good layer of mulch over its roots. It's relatively slow-growing, naturally tidy, and well-behaved and low-maintenance, and the deer tend to leave it well alone. Use it as a refined evergreen foundation shrub, especially on a shadier side of the house, or group it with those other acid-loving shrubs for a beautiful, layered four-season bed. Part shade, acidic and well-drained soil, and a little shelter from harsh afternoon sun and cold, drying winds. My tip? Here's a lovely detail to know and enjoy. Those flower buds actually form back in the summer, and they hang on the plant all the way through the fall and winter, looking like delicate little strings of beads even before they open. So don't mistake them for something gone wrong and accidentally prune them off. Just leave them be, and enjoy the wonderful show when they finally bloom. If you do need to prune for shape, do it lightly, and only right after flowering finishes. Evergreen, refined, and early flowering. Pieris is a touch of real elegance. Now let's add some bright, glowing, year-round color with number 8. Number 8 lights up your yard with bright, glowing foliage every single day of the year, even on the grayest, gloomiest winter morning, Euonymus. When most evergreens give you a steady, dependable green, Euonymus gives you something more. It gives you gold, and it gives you silver. The popular variegated types have leaves that are boldly edged or splashed with brilliant golden yellow or creamy white, and that bright, cheerful foliage glows in the garden all year long. It's genuinely like having a little patch of sunshine sitting right there in your shrub border, even on a dull, overcast winter day. And that year-round brightness makes Euonymus a fantastic plant for lighting up a dull, dark corner, for adding cheerful color to an otherwise all-green evergreen planting, or for creating a low, glowing golden hedge. Euonymus is tough, adaptable, and very easy to grow. It's happy in full sun or part shade, it tolerates a wide range of soils, and it's low maintenance and forgiving of a gardener's mistakes. There are neat, mounding shrub types that are perfect for foundation plantings and low hedges, and there are spreading winter creeper types that work beautifully as an evergreen ground cover, or that will even climb a wall or fence if you let them. And the golden and silver variegated varieties keep that bright, glowing color faithfully through every season, winter included. Use it as a bright, glowing accent among darker greens like boxwood and yew, as a cheerful low hedge, as a foundation shrub to light up the front of the house, or as a colorful evergreen ground cover. Sun to part shade, and do note that more sun gives you the brightest, most vivid variegation, and well-drained soil. My tip: place the gold and silver types deliberately, right where you want to draw the eye and brighten up a space, and then pair them with deep, solid greens, like boxwood or yew, so that the bright variegated foliage really pops and shines against that dark backdrop. Give it good airflow and sun for the healthiest, most colorful growth. And do choose the well-behaved mounding shrub forms for the front yard, since some of the spreading climbing types can be quite vigorous. Bright, glowing, cheerful, and evergreen all year, Euonymus brings the sunshine to the gray days. Now let's add a charming, classic little conifer with number 9. Number 9 is a sweet, perfectly shaped little conifer that brings classic evergreen charm and crisp structure to a front yard, the Dwarf Alberta Spruce. This is, I think, one of the most charming and well-behaved little evergreens you can possibly grow. It forms a naturally perfect, dense, conical, little Christmas tree shape, all on its own. Soft, fine, bright green needles packed into a neat, tidy cone that needs virtually no pruning whatsoever to look absolutely immaculate. That perfect, formal, almost storybook shape adds wonderful structure and a touch of classic, tidy elegance to a yard, and it holds that beautiful form faithfully all year round, looking especially lovely dusted with a little snow in winter, or strung with a few small lights for the holidays. And because it is slow-growing and stays compact and small for many, many years, the Dwarf Alberta Spruce is just perfect for the front yard, where a full-size tree would be far too much. It's wonderful for flanking an entrance or a set of steps in a neat, matching pair, for anchoring the corner of a bed, or for growing in handsome containers right by the front door, where you can even decorate it through the changing seasons. It gives you that crisp, formal, evergreen structure without ever getting too big or demanding constant trimming to keep it in line. It likes full sun to part shade and well-drained soil. And once it's established, it's genuinely low maintenance. Use it as a neat, formal accent, as a symmetrical pair framing the door or steps, or as a tidy, charming evergreen in a large pot. My tip, do give it good air circulation and keep a watchful eye out for spider mites during hot, dry spells, as they're its one common pest. A simple, regular spray of water over the foliage helps keep them away and keeps the plant healthy. And do try to side it out of harsh, cold, drying winter winds, which can brown the needles on the exposed side. Give it those small considerations, and it's a neat, charming, faithful little gem. Tidy, charming, and perfectly shaped, the dwarf Alberta spruce adds classic structure. Now for our 10th and final shrub, a tough native that's a wonderful, easy alternative to boxwood. Here it is. And here is number 10. A tough, tidy, native evergreen that makes a brilliant, easy, modern alternative to boxwood, the Inkberry Holly. Now, inkberry is actually a type of holly, but it doesn't look anything at all like the spiny, prickly kind you might be picturing. Instead, it has small, smooth, glossy, deep green leaves on a neat, rounded, well-behaved shrub, and the overall effect looks remarkably, almost uncannily, like a boxwood. In fact, the compact modern varieties make a wonderful, low, evergreen hedge or foundation plant, giving you that same crisp, tidy, year-round green that boxwood is so prized for. But inkberry is often even tougher, hardier, and more adaptable. It holds its handsome green color right through the winter, and the female plants produce small black berries that quietly feed the birds. And here's what makes inkberry so especially valuable, and why I love recommending it. First, it's a North American native, so it's beautifully suited to our conditions and it supports our local birds and pollinators. And second, it's wonderfully adaptable to the very spots that challenge other evergreens. It tolerates wet, damp, even boggy soil and heavy clay, far, far better than boxwood ever could, and it's happy in sun or part shade. So for a damp, low spot in the yard, or simply for a tough, native, fuss-free alternative to boxwood, it is a truly fantastic choice. Use it as a low, evergreen hedge, a neat foundation planting, or a tidy green backbone anywhere you'd normally reach for boxwood, and especially in a damper or more challenging spot where boxwood would sulk. Sun to part shade. And it's perfectly happy in average to even moist soils where so many other evergreens would struggle and fail. My tip, do choose one of the compact, dense, modern varieties for the tidiest, most boxwood-like look, and give it a light trim now and then to shape it if you like. Older types can sometimes get a bit leggy and bare at the base over time, but the modern compact selections stay full and handsome. It's a tough, native, fuss-free way to get that classic evergreen structure. A real quiet hero of the winter garden. Tough, tidy, native, and adaptable, Inkberry Holly is the perfect finish. Now let's bring it all together. And there you have it, 10 evergreen shrubs that keep your front yard looking beautiful, polished and cared for all year long, even in the very dead of winter. From timeless boxwood to fiery red Nandina to bright golden Euonymus, plant a few of these for structure, and your home will look just as lovely and intentional in January as it does in June. And here's the most important thing I want you to take away from today. These evergreens are the bones of your garden. Get that structure right with just a few good evergreen shrubs, and then every flower, every perennial, every burst of seasonal color you plant will have a beautiful, steady, handsome green backdrop to shine against. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. Structure first, then color. That's the secret to a yard that looks wonderful in every single season. So tell me down in the comments, does your yard go bare and sad in winter, like I asked you right at the start? Or do you already have some good evergreen backbone in place? Share it with me, along with your growing zone, and let's figure out the perfect structure plants for your particular spot. I do so enjoy puzzling these things out together with you. And while you're down there, do go and say a warm hello to another gardener in the comments. This little community of ours really is such a joy to me. Now, coming up next, 10 fast-growing plants for instant privacy and curb appeal. The ones that fill in quickly to block an unwanted view and beautify your yard in a real hurry. If you're tired of waiting years for things to grow, you are going to love it. So make sure you're subscribed with that bell turned on. Until next time, this is Eleanor. Keep your hands in the soil and your heart in the garden. Take care now. Bye-bye.